Hey everybody, this is Tammy. We got a report form done, so I just want to briefly walk through this with you. And if you have any questions when we're done with this, email me to huffman2@nwacc.edu, and I'll try to answer you as quick as I can. So the first page you're going to see when you click on the link is just the title and the week that you're reporting for. So let's say you worked on Monday and Wednesday, March 30th and April 1st. So then you would select the following Friday of the week that you worked in order to report for. The drop down box for your name. So I think I have everybody on here, but today I'm going to be Miss White. I'm going to hit next. All right, so I've got Monday through Friday on here for a couple of reasons. You don't have to teach every day. You don't have to teach particular days. Even if you were teaching Tuesday, Thursday, your students would probably prefer you to teach that Tuesday, Thursday. But if you have to change that to a Friday, that's between you and your students. So I just want to make an option for you to report on that day if you did work. So the important part of this is this method of learning on every day. So if you did not teach on Monday, then you click no instruction and then you scroll down to the bottom here. Well, scroll down to the bottom here and you would click next. All right. But let's say on Tuesday you actually did work. So let me explain these other two options. So instructed face-to-face with students on a platform like YouTube or Zoom. So this is going to be any time where the students can see you and you're actually giving a lesson instruction, like on the pronunciation of ED verbs. And so if you do a Zoom, then you can, you are supposed to open the chat and have the students type in that they're there, and then type out when they leave. So there's a time date stamp on the Zoom, and you print that out at the end of every Zoom you do, and you just save that either digitally or print it out, and we'll put it in student records at a later date. If you do like a YouTube where it's recorded and they watch it at a later time, it's still considered like that face-to-face instruction, but of course it doesn't have any way of printing out who all attended. So teachers have been instructed that at the very end of your recording, either a YouTube or a Screencast-O-Matic or a WebEx, whenever you do, to say, all right, students, if you want to have these hours attributed to your learning, then you need to send me an email, or preferably an email, so that you can get these hours earned. And then you would save those emails to a file that we would get at a later date. They can text you back, but you've got to have a way of documenting that text. Sorry, the dogs have been going off. This is like the fourth time I've recorded this because of the dogs. But so whenever you're going to do, make sure that you're going to have to save it. So if it's a phone call, you've got to have some way of documenting that. The phone calls are really hard to document, so a lot of times they can't earn those hours because it was based on a phone call. You can keep a phone log with time, but that's kind of iffy. We would prefer for teachers, best practice is to get an email. So have the students email you back at the end of the lesson. That's best practice. But if they don't have email, there are other ways around it. So just call me. We'll talk about those one-on-one. So DL instruction, number one, that's Burlington for daytimers or Rosetta Stone for night timers. And we actually record all those hours on the administrative side, so you don't have to worry about recording those hours. But if you use Remind or emails or something like that where you're giving instruction or instructions, you're not instructing, but you're giving instructions, that's going to be under DL. And so you're telling that you're sending out an email with either an attachment or a lesson prompt, something that they have to respond to, and then they send you an email back or a scan back. That's what that's going to fall under. So let's go through here. Let's say that on Tuesday I did both. because you can do both, right? So I sent out, I did a Zoom on days of the week. And then I sent them out an attachment form that they had to, tell me what they did on Monday, what they did on Tuesday, what they did on Wednesday. So this next part would be, what software programs did I use? Well, I used Zoom, right? But I also sent them out an email telling them that they needed to email me back with this worksheet, or these questions answered. Mr. Rogers, he's got an Emoto account, and what he does is to have assignments on there, and then the students can do those assignments and then turn them back by email. Whenever you have, if you're using something I don't have, then that needs to be a conversation that you and I have after by email. I also need you to give a brief description of the content you covered. And this is just because if we give a student 5 hours of credit, there needs to be 5 hours worth of work there. And the state of Arkansas is going to look at that at our review and say, hey, you give this student 5 hours of credit, but you asked them, what they did on Monday. That's not the same. So you need to put on there that in my Zoom I covered, ED verbs and everyday edit, conversational skills, that kind of thing. All right, so this next part is kind of, I really want you to focus in. All right, so how much time did you spend online teaching this lesson? So how much time did you personally spend instructing the students? This is going to be their, on their hours, their instructional hours. So if you gave a 30-minute YouTube presentation, they're going to get 0.5 or 30 minutes worth of hours. And then I want you to, even though you're saving the chat or you're documenting the emails, I still need you to put the name on here because our data entry people are going to have to, find the student and give them the hours. So their name has to go on here for them to get the hours they earned. It's not going to be for your whole class. It's just the people you put on here. And then the assigned activities you gave them. So let's say you gave them, what did you do every day of the week in English? Well, let's say that would take you an hour to do. So I want you to double it. That would take the student 2 hours to do. Or let's say you gave them a worksheet about, the days of the week, and it'd take you half an hour to do. Well, then double it. It would take your student an hour to do it. But whenever you think the student should earn for finishing that assignment is what you're going to put. And then you're going to put the students that actually finish that assignment and you have documentation for. All right? Once you get done with that, click Next and go to the next day. That's all this is. This is basically so that our students can get the hours that they're working. It's also that in our state review, they'll be able to go back and look and see what student was doing on which day, which they do on the reviews. And then also because they can use this as a resource to see what people like to use best and what students like to use best and maybe what could be best practices going forward. So that's a real quick overview. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me again. It's thuffman2@nwacc.edu. And I hope you all have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, wear a mask, wash your hands, you know the deal. Talk to you guys later.